good evening, and welcome to Sketch Card Saturday Night. I am late, very late, and I apologize. I was working on a painting and I had to get to a certain step before I could shut it down because my paint was drying. So forgive me for being late. But we are here to do some sketch cards, so we're going to jump into some Justice League sketch cards. And I think I'm ready to go. I'm just gonna double check, make sure everything's straight. I think I got everything on camera down at the bottom. I need to find a way to zoom in. I need to get a better setup. Although that looks pretty good, I think. I think that's all right. Um, so we will be doing pen and ink on 4x6 watercolor paper. And what I did for the month of September, based on my buddy Cool as Heck, who is a comic book artist. In September, every day for warm up, he was drawing a different Justice League member. So I did a bunch of sketches for September for the Justice League. This month we're doing Marvel. We're doing X-Men. So I did Beast and Storm and Professor X. But I've got all these sketches in my sketchbook for September from the Justice League, and I figured, why not take them out of the sketchbook and turn them into sketch cards and give them out. So I'm going to start with Soups here. This was the warm up sketch that I did, and I'm going to go ahead and move that over to a nice looking sketch card drawing. And then I don't know how long I'll be on tonight, how quickly these go. I'm warmed up. I've been sketching and drawing, painting all day, so I'm pretty warmed up, but I'm also a little bit tired. So we'll see how things go. And I want these to be nice. So let me make sure I got my eraser out because we're going to do some nice sketch cards. Thanks everybody for stopping by to Sketch Card Saturday Night. We're going to do Justice League sketches starting with Soups, aka Superman, aka Kal-El. And again, these are the sketches that I did for September for warm up, and I'm going to turn them all into really nice sketch cards. So we got Soups. What else we got? We got Hawkman and Flash, Wonder Woman, Rainer, Green Lantern, Green Arrows, Black Canary, Cyborg, Aquaman. So we got a bunch. I didn't get every day, so I don't have 30, but I do have a fair amount. But Superman is first. Ah, and I just dropped my pencil, which means I just broke my lid. Oh, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I did. I chipped it a little bit. All right. I am a big DC fanboy. This is also being multicast on uh, my YouTube channel. So this should be pretty cool. The sketch was fun to do. I really did like it. I always like doing Superman and Clark Kent and that duality of them. As many people have said before me, he is Superman. Clark Kent is his fake identity. He is real. He is really Kal El. I have not seen the new Superman movie. I I've wanted to, and at this point, I'm probably gonna have to wait for it to come out on video because it really is a little bit too late. Sorry about that. My alarm, my bedtime alarm, and I don't know. I Everybody who's all of my friends who know I'm a DC fanboy, they've seen it and they say, Brad, you're gonna like it. Don't worry about it. I don't know. There's something about it. I don't feel like I'm gonna like it. So I haven't been in a rush to go see it. Now it may not disappoint. It may once it comes out on probably streaming is when I'll see it. I don't think I'll be in a rush any other time to see it either. And Superman is not my favorite. Everybody who knows me knows Batman is my favorite. But I do like Superman. I like the thought of Superman. I like the mythos of Superman that you can be a good person more than anything else. I think there's some really good Superman stories out there. My Superman is Christopher Reeve back in the day, black and white TV. That was my introduction to Superman. The And then there was the Reeve curse. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with that, about how a lot of the Superman, the people who played, Mr. Invincible himself, died. And so it was the Superman curse. For a lot of people who don't know, they can look it up. I mean, it's you can Google it now, but they a lot. I think it was the first three that played Superman all died in a in a in an accident. And this one, I like the way it's coming out so far. One of the favorite pictures I've ever drawn of Superman, I actually draw him getting beat up by Bane. Uh, and Bane was choking him and ripping the S off his chest. And I got the idea from an old song. I think it was a rap song. I ripped the S off of Superman's chest. And I always thought that was pretty, pretty cool song. And when I was getting ready for a comic convention, I said to myself, why don't I just draw that? And who would I have doing it? And then I thought about it. I was like, why not Bane? Why not have Bane just jacking him up? And then because I do like Bane as a villain, and then I thought to myself, this could be the best of both worlds. I can mix in my love of the Bat family and the Rogues Gallery with the Superman. And so that was one of my favorite drawings that I've ever done of Superman. And I had him getting beat up by Bane. Pretty, pretty ironic. I've always liked the view as well of him transforming into going from Clark Kent. But it kind of makes me wonder, would he ever get any rest? If you could hear crime all over the place all the time, when would you sleep? When would you take a break? And this will be a pretty rough sketch because I'm going to ink it, and I want to make sure I'll allow enough time to do a good ink job. So I'm not going to put a lot of super detail into super detail, super detail into the Superman sketch. I'm not going to do a lot of super detail because I want to give myself a little latitude once I start the inking. So if anybody has seen the movie, what did you thought? What did you think? What were your thoughts on the new Superman movie? Did you like it? Was it overrated? Was it worth the wait? Was it worth the redo? Was it worth the rebranding? Still, when I look at the commercials now, or the trailers, I should say, I look at them, and part of me is still just thinking I'm not gonna like it. I don't know why. I just get that feeling like I'm not gonna like it. I could be completely wrong. Part of me hopes I am. I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I'm definitely gonna have to wait until it comes out on streaming. But I would love to hear some opinions on what people thought about it. Again, thanks everybody for stopping by as we do some Justice League sketch cards tonight. This one's going pretty quickly. I'm sorry I was late again. I was working on a painting and I just didn't want to stop until I got to a certain point. And I had to get there. And then once I got there, I shut it down for a little while. I've got to go back and actually finish some more work on the painting, but I got to a part where I needed to let it dry uh, anyway. For the people stopping by, are you looking forward to anything special from the Justice League, or are you all just surfing the whatnot webs? One of the reasons I love doing live sketching these days is is because one, I love to draw, but two, there's so much going on with AI movement. And I don't know if a lot of people have heard about the AI imagers getting into conventions and just claiming to be a regular artist. And they've actually been removed from a couple of shows now. And I am not pro AI imagery. I don't consider them artists, but I do give them credit for creating images. But I'm like you are doing an image. You're not doing art, and that's to each his own. But I was kind of happy when I saw that they weren't being allowed into conventions that were meant for artists, traditional artists, digital artists. I don't want to say real artists because then people get up in arms about the terminology. But I will say uh, hand created art. I am very pro hand. That sounds weird. I'm pro hand. The S on the chest has changed a lot as well. It's always interesting. Actually, that's one of the things I usually look forward to with new Batman or Superman movies is what are they going to do with the S on the chest? What are they going to do with the bat symbol? It's always very interesting to see what they're going to do with that. All right, I think that's a good sketch to start inking. Inking. I'm going to outline it first, and then I'll go in with my brush pen and maybe some details. The surface of the paper that I use is a nice watercolor paper, and so I can put gouache down over it and marker on it, and it holds up very well to however I decide to color it. And I really like that because if I create it on this paper from the beginning, then however I decide to finish it, it's good to go. And I don't have to worry about, oh, am I gonna mess up the paper? Again, thank you for stopping by. If you are a fan of comics, we are not, we've just, we are preparing to release, and by we, I mean me and my fellow artists that work out of the studio to produce comic books. We are getting ready to release our 2025 gaggle of comics. We have an anthology coming out. We have and it's number 3, volume 3, Tales from the Tipsy Taurus. For any of the people who saw that or read that, we are doing time served issue number 3, and we have new features coming out. One is called Zeus vs. the Titans, and the other is called Lottery Day. So super excited about those releases. If you want more information, head up to my Instagram at Brad Scott Art, and you will find out all about our comic releases. One of the problems I have when I use this paper is because of the texture on it, and I'm really trying to get the ink in. When I'm using my multi-liners, I'm pushing hard. I've got like death grip on the pen, and I have to remember to lighten up, which is why a lot of times I'll use my brush pen. But because I want to erase this fairly quickly, this underdrawing, I need to use this multi-liner to get my lines down before I pull out the brush pen. The brush pen is better as far as line quality, but also it takes longer to dry. So I want to get this down very quickly and get it erased so I can come back with some very nice lines. So there's the sketch, and then I'll get those pencil lines erased so I can get in here and really make it look the way I want it to. But that's a quick sketch. I think that came out pretty good. And get rid of this underdrawing. The multi-liners dry really fast as opposed to the brush pen. So I can get rid of that, clean up those lines a lot. I don't worry about getting them all gone, because then whoever gets it, they get a little bit of that real. You know, it was done with human hands. All right, here we go. First, I'll come in with my O1 and clean up some of the small details that I know I have to do, like the eyes. Need a little lighter touch on the pen. And I love this point one to really get in there and get some good details. However, because I am heavy handed, I have to be very careful because I've ruined many of these pens by applying too much pressure and ruining the tip. Just the tip, she said. Thank you, said I. Bad joke. and the belt. I want to make sure I get that. Okay. Now I can come in with the brush pen and really put my style into it. I've been trying to work with my glasses on, and that's not good because when I'm working this close, I don't really need my glasses. Hopefully, I'm not leaning too far. My big head's in the way. Using the watercolor paper, I think the ink sits really well on it. It gives it a really nice, rich feel, and the natural texture of the watercolor paper just it's so nice. Oh, I'm already loving it. In my opinion, it's already looking beautiful. Putting in those deep, nice, thick, deep blacks. There's some areas that I will have to use the pen for just because I don't want to mess them up. Brush pen is great because I can really, without changing tools, I can really do some cool things with the line weights with one tool. Go from thick to thin, so I can start out thin, go thick, come back to thin, all in one stroke. I can come in and just blast out large areas of deep blacks, and it really just speeds up the process. Again, thanks everybody who took a little bit of their time to stop by. I truly appreciate it. More than you know. I'm going to go ahead and put a heavy outline around this, which I don't typically do, but today I think I am. I think I'm just going to go ahead and give it a nice outline because I really like the way this ink is looking on the card. I might try something else here too. And then when I get down here, I think that's looking beautiful. Looks like a young Superman, doesn't he? I would like to see. So growing up, I got to see the some of the original Superman movies when they first came out. Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. Richard Pryor was one of the villains. Um, the original battle with Zod, who I always dug that storyline because it showed that Superman couldn't fight. Once he's up against a general from, oh, sorry about that, I bumped the camera. Once he's against a general from his own country or his own planet, the General Zod was beating that ass. Whereas here on Earth, Superman really doesn't have to know how to fight. He's just all powerful to the rest of us. Which begs the question, why is he ever in trouble, right? He's not. He's never really in any danger. Not from us, anyway. Not from the little people of Earth. Any questions or comments, please feel free to throw them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll get lost in the ink. And I also try to keep my hand out of the way most of the time. But some lines are just, I have to maneuver in a way where I'm in your way. So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to pull out my cartography pen. And I'm going to first make sure the ink is flowing properly. And see if we can get some cool lines from this. I don't use this very often. And most of the time I use it wrong. But every now and then, if I take my time and do it right, I can get some pretty cool lines. which begs the question, do I really know what right is with these pens? I don't know. I'm not a cartographer, but I do like some of the lines you get with this pen sometimes. Yeah, I like that. That came out pretty cool. Okay. I won't push my luck on that. I don't use it enough to really be dangerous with it. And then I will finish this up with a few small details here and there. And I keep bumping the camera with my head. Sorry about that. Actually, the tie, I need to finish out the tie. Okay. And then I can just come in with a few more details. The other thing I like about this watercolor paper is it soaks up the ink fairly quickly. And since I am one of the people that likes to rest their hand on the artwork, there's less danger of me screwing it up by putting my fat fingers hand on it. Give them a little chiselness. And tighten up these hands a little bit. Okay. I think that's pretty good for a Superman sketch card. And that went relatively quickly. We might have time to do one more. I don't want to make this seem like his arm's out too much. I can definitely dig it. I like the way that came out. So there's our Superman sketch card. And we do have time for one more. If anybody is interested in this one, let me know. And I will throw it on auction for $1. Otherwise, it will be in the shop to purchase later on at full price. What did I do next? I think next up was Wonder Woman. And again, these are sketches that I did in September for warm up sketches. And I decided, hey, why not do a little bit better sketch? Like here is, for example, this was my warm up sketch at the beginning of September. And I like the way it came out. I like the composition of it. So I said, hey, let me do a much better sketch card drawing. So this was just a warm up sketch, probably 10 minutes. And then this one, we took our time, made sure the anatomy was right, put it together, and got a much better drawing. And every time I look at it, I see little areas that I want to do a little more work on. And after this, I'm going to leave it alone. Because I could nitpick it all day, all night. But it's good. That's a good sketch card right there. So we're going to leave it alone. And we're going to go to Wonder Woman. All right. So let's see what we're going to do here. Wonder Woman. We're going to focus on the head on this one. I've got a sneeze. Pardon me. Ugh. Whenever it comes, I'm gonna let it go. Out. And it goes away. Thank you. Although I'm sure it'll come back. I always like building out the head and face to make sure things are in the right place. Doesn't necessarily mean I'll ink all those lines, but I want to make sure that the anatomy is as close to right as I can get it. Got a gnat in here. One of the joys of living in Florida. And the gnat has decided that I will be the target for the night. Thank you, Nat. I don't know what I would do without you, Nat. I like a fierce looking Wonder Woman. When I think of Amazon Warrior, I don't think of just, boring hot chick. I think of, yeah, you mess around, find out, you don't get jacked up, buddy. And the mouth was a little bit too high that first time. And I can usually tell when I pull the jaw line if the mouth is going to be too high. And I like giving her nice cheekbones. Again, most of these lines I will not ink. But I like putting them in to make sure that the anatomy is working properly. Wonder Woman! Linda Carter is my Wonder Woman. That is the Wonder Woman I grew up on. I thought Gal Gadot did a great job, and she has definitely got my vote for Wonder Woman. But in the big scheme of things, Linda Carter is my Wonder Woman. I had such a crush on her back in the day. It was ridiculous. But I think a lot of guys did. We were all like, oh my God. I don't know whether it was the fact that it was Wonder Woman or whether it was Linda Carter, who is, she was a model, I think out of Mexico, I believe. And they got her to play Wonder Woman. And great choice. No arguments here. And then when Gal Gadot got chose to do it, I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. I've always thought she was beautiful and a great actress. Definitely fell in love with her during the Fast and Furious series. I thought she did great there. I've always had a thing for women in power, to be honest, powerful women. The thing with Wonder Woman is always the hair, getting that right. And my head keeps bumping the try not to give her man hands while still trying to make her look powerful. That arm might be a little bit too long. Let me shorten that up a little bit and bring it up from the shoulder. Oh yeah, I like that. That's cool. And then if her neck came down like that, the shoulder would be about right there. And now it's good to draw through and kind of see where stuff is supposed to go. Because her boobs would kind of be with this shoulder up. This boob comes up a little bit. Wonder Woman. I like that. I think that's kind of cool. Change that up just a little. And I think that's cool. I think that will be good. I think that's a good design. Again, the hair. Part of what makes Wonder Woman is the hair. I like that. I think that's cool. I think that'll make a good sketch. Again, I want to thank everyone for taking a moment to stop by and see what's going on. I appreciate it. And whether you stay for a minute or a mile, I'm always grateful. And when I do work like this, I do have to remember to not ink everything. But give myself enough to know what's going on after I erase the pencils, but also leave myself room for some creativity in the inking phase. It's kind of the same thing when I'm doing comic work. I don't like the pencil so tight that when I ink, I don't have room for creativity in the inking. So, same concept here. And with women, sometimes it's better to just give the little indication of a nose rather than drawing the whole nose. It gives them a little bit more touch of femininity. And again, I'm pushing a little bit too hard on this watercolor paper. I need to back off just a little bit and let the marker do its work. I remember when Gal Gadot was picked, people were telling her boobs were too small, as if Wonder Woman had to have big boobs, as opposed to just Linda Carter just happened to have big boobs. All right, I think I got most of my line work in. I'm gonna come in with my fine liner and just give myself all right. I think that'll be good. And let's get rid of these extra lines now and see what we're working with. Oh, look at that transformation. Oh yeah, I'm digging it. I can see there's some lines I definitely need to finish, but I left myself some leeway in doing this one. Some of the pencil marks will remain, but that's how the person who gets it knows that this will be original art, not a copy, not something else. Again, I'm going to take a moment to say thank you for anybody who stopped by. I do appreciate it. And the face, I'm going to use my liners so that I don't stray too far from what I want. Okay. And now I'll pull out the brush pen and really get in there and do some damage. Again, I think I'm going to do a nice outline. Actually, again, I'm going to try to keep some of the lines to a minimum around the face to keep that feminine look. I don't want her looking like a man. But I am going to go with the heavy outline. Something I don't normally do, but I've been experimenting with it recently, and I think it makes for some good line work. Yeah, I like that. I like those heavy lines. Let me dive over, make sure I'm not missing any comments. And I'm not. But a lot of people stop by to say hello. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to everyone that stopped by. I truly appreciate it. It is so nice to be seen. Thank you. So give her a nice outline like that. And then I'll highlight some of the main parts with a thicker line. And do I just black out all the hair? Maybe, maybe. But I think I'm gonna try to layer it, which I've tried before, and with pen and ink, it's a little bit harder. Like I really just want to black all that in, but then I lose the layers. So really cross hatching it is the solution. Wonder Woman. If this was color, there's some really cool things I could do. And I think all of this, I'm definitely going to just black it out. I'm not going to try to layer any of that because it frames her face very nicely. And it gives the silhouette of the figure something really nice. And how are we doing on time? I think we're doing great on time. Man, sorry about that. Keep bumping the camera with my fat head. We are doing great on time. Although this will be, it's 10:30. This will be my last one for the night. If anybody's interested in Wonder Woman or the Superman, I will auction them off beginning at $1. I do that for anybody who just happens to be here as a thank you, to say thank you for stopping by and hanging out. Otherwise, I will put them up in the shop at the end at full price. Wonder Woman. Yeah, I like that. And even though I want to layer this, I want to finish framing her face. Oh, I think that came out pretty nice. I like that. I like it. There's a few areas here that I think I can go a little bit darker on. Okay. And again, I try to keep the ladies a little bit softer. And I think that's a good looking Wonder Woman right there. I think I can add a little bit to the breastplate without messing it up too bad. And if I can do this right, if I can ding and bounce that bullet off. And ding, bounce that bullet off. And these bullets are just falling to the ground. Man, I'm sorry, bumped the camera again. Bing, bing, bing. I think that came out pretty good. I think that came out pretty good. And those are our two sketches for tonight. We got Superman and Wonder Woman. See, I can put them up. Get a nice camera shot. I think those came out good for tonight, and that was about an hour and a half's worth of work. So about 30, 45 minutes each, and penciled and inked. These sketch cards are 4x6, and I will put them up in the shop. But that's our show for tonight. Again, thank you everyone for stopping by. If anybody wants one of these right now, I'll throw it up on the auction for $1. Other than that, they'll be in the shop tomorrow, and you can pick one up then. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for stopping by. I had a good time tonight. This is the first sketch card Saturday night after the summer break. And for the next couple of weeks on Sketch Card Saturday night, I will be doing the Justice League. And so we're starting off tonight with the wondrous people, the alien and the goddess. All right, you all take it easy. Appreciate you coming by, hanging out, stopping by, all of those things. And take care. Peace out. Talk to you later.